Hey everyone, welcome back to another theory lesson here in Level 5. Here we're going to quickly cover 3 terms that you're going to see often when reading charts and different transcriptions. Now, if you've gone through any of the transcriptions in the Drumeo Songs section, you've probably seen these terms written already. Now, the first is accelerando, which is an Italian word that tells us to gradually increase the tempo that we're playing at. This term is typically abbreviated on charts like this. So an increase in tempo could happen at any point in a song. An intro that accelerates into the first verse, a frantic ending, or if the song is more progressive, these accelerations could really happen at any point in the song. So if you're reading a chart and you come across this term, let's say you're just playing a regular rock groove. The acceleration is going to sound something like this. So there you heard I started at one tempo and I gradually increased up to a faster tempo. Now the exact tempo that you speed up to is going to be dictated completely by the song that you're playing, and it's probably going to be written on the chart. But if it's not, just make sure that you check with whoever's running the tune or whoever your band leader is. So the second term we're going to look at here is ritardando, which is an Italian word that tells us to gradually decrease the tempo of what we're playing. This term is typically abbreviated on charts just like this. Now, a decrease in tempo most often occurs at the very end of a song and creates some musical drama and some tension before the final note or even a cymbal crash is played. While these are most commonly used at the ends of songs, they can really appear at any point as well, just like the accelerando we looked at earlier. So let's assume I'm coming up to the final 4 bars of a song and there's a rit going into the final note. It's going to sound something like this. So there you heard that there were 3 bars that are all at one set tempo, and then when I got to that final bar, there was this gradual decrease in tempo. Now when you see a rit on page, that's exactly what you're gonna do. And you might be doing this with the rest of the band, so just make sure that everyone is watching each other. Even if you're leading that, just make sure that you're all in sync and you really hit that last note all together. So the last term we're gonna look at is rubato, which refers to playing something with rhythmic freedom, or something that's not played in strict metronomic time. When you see this on the page, this means that the performer gets to choose how to phrase the notes by slowly speeding up and slowing down as necessary. Literally translated from Italian, the term tempo rubato means stolen time, which I think is a really accurate description for this type of playing. Now, as drummers, very rarely do we play anything rubato. This usually falls on other musicians. But it's still important to be aware of when you're following along with a chart or you come across a rubato or free time section in a chart that you're playing. If you come across a section like this, listen carefully to the notes that are being played and how they're being played. A great example of a rubato intro is in Acknowledgement by John Coltrane, which is part 1 of the famous A Love Supreme record. The entire intro is played with rhythmic freedom and doesn't settle into a strict tempo until the bass line enters. I know you'll also find rubato sections in many songs by Tigran Hamasyan, Rush, and Dream Theater, all of which are in the Drumeo Songs section that you can check out there. So, there's no assignment for this section other than to understand all 3 of these terms and to know how to identify them on a chart. Once you're confident with this concept and you've completed your assignment, you can move on to the next lesson and I will see you there.